right, thank you so much for joining us, Mark and Kurt online, and for everyone in the room. Just a few things to note. Food is there and drinks are in the refrigerator. We have a Facebook page. I keep that pretty up to date, as well as our website. And then we also have a monthly newsletter, and I'm always looking for people to contribute. So if you have anything that you would like me to post with it, contact me and I will work on for October getting that done. Next month's meeting is October 18th. David Lair from National Association of Broadcasters will be presenting for us. I think the topic right now will be something AM radio related with all the pushback on AM radio and cars. And then don't forget, this is for you guys in person when you attend. Every time you attend, you get put into a drawing. I'm probably going to move it to the November meeting because we won't be meeting in December. But we'll draw a name and then we will buy the Members Plus option. That's what I was thinking. We might do it at our holiday party in November. And then a couple other things of note. Next week, as you guys mentioned, SBE national meeting in Ohio. And then also check out the SBE website. They have a bunch of great webinars. If you have that Members Plus membership, if you do just 2 webinars, that more than pays the cost of a webinar there or of the membership there. So anyways, with that, I will give it over to you, Mark. Do you need to share your screen?
Yeah, I'd like to.
You want to see if you can? I may need to make you the host.
Well, let's see what happens.
There it is.
You got it? So
yeah, there it is.
All right. Now let me set it in. Now, you still see it? You still see it?
Yeah, you look good.
Okay. Super duper. All right. Well, thank you for having me, gang. I know Amanda and I know Chris, and can't really tell if I know all of you, but I know some of you, and appreciate you taking the time to let us tell you a little bit about what's going on. We're really getting down to the end of this whole process, and so I enjoy having an opportunity to give you an update, but also to share with you some of the interesting things that you see when you put in, 500-600 filters across the country. So no names, no call letters, but let's get started. So if you remember correctly, the whole point of this was to take away those bottom 15 and a half transponders. So from 3,700 to 4,000 or 4 gig is the area where mobile wireless wanted to put 5G. They believe they were looking all over for bandwidth. So, we weren't the only ones singled out, but they were looking everywhere for bandwidth. And the government, the FCC, decided to give them really what they wanted instead of the compromise that was worked on. But here's where we're at. So the actual transmission should be limited to, actually they begin below 3,700. They begin around 3,500. So 3,500 all the way up to 3,980. That top 20 megs is supposed to be guard band. So they should not be in that near your downlinks. So where are we at now? So all the 5G carriers began transmission in the top 48 markets in that first 120 megs back in 2021. All the radio carriers were actually relocated first. So relocating those carriers above those 15 first 15 and a half transponders, or first 14 and a half transponders. So they moved radio up to transponders above 17, mostly I think it's around 21, 23 on SES 11. They also moved any other C-band customers we had to move, actually had to move EMF in frequency and satellite. We had to move them off of ANIC F1 to ANIC F3. The SES2 carriers, which is mostly Christian radio, is all above that blue filter limit. So the video downlinks, nearly all the red filters have been replaced. So they're, according to SES and Intelsat, they're ready for the transition. They launched some satellites in the last 18 months. All of those are in place and operating nominally. Same with Intelsat, 7 satellites, and those all are up. So Intelsat and SES have reported all their carriers transition to the transponders above 5G. So the entire 5G migration should be completed by December. The interesting thing is, if you haven't gotten any reimbursements or payments, the clearing closing house will in those transition reimbursements in December. So we don't expect any reimbursements after the year's end. These are some of the new locations. Most of the Intelsat birds, that's all video, and SES is a mix there of radio and video.
Hello, Mr. Johnson.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, Bobby.
Oh, put the Galaxy and all the orbital slots back on. I've got all those memorized.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
There you go. So Intelsat gave us an update about a month ago. They completed all their transitions on March 31st. So phase 2 filtering was completed in June. And so they reported phase 2 complete in July to the FCC and to the clearinghouse. Point 2, the relocation payment clearinghouse is, looking to issue a public notice requesting comment on the closeout of claims. So that's where we get that concept that they don't want to make any payments after December. And then point 3 is the mobile operators will be deploying as soon as they can. So if they can get away with firing up before December 5th, I would watch out for that. But hopefully, if you've got your blue filters in place, you're registered, everything's done, you should not have any issues. We've seen only a few in those top 48 markets. Other C-band news, there was a statement in June that SES was in talks with Intelsat to combine the two, but Intelsat shut that down. Interestingly enough, the SES and Intelsat were in court over the billions of dollars that were to be paid out to the what was the original agreement, which was the C-band alliance, which is what Intelsat and SES wanted. In the original agreement, they were going to split this money 50-50. Well, the FCC shut down the C-band alliance at the last moment, and SES went to a judge to hold Intelsat to the 50-50 because the FCC was going to actually give them more. because of a larger number of downlinks. So at that time, SES had won a victory to split that. We'll see. I'm sure that's not over by any stretch. Do you think, Bobby? So this is what
it's not over by any stretch. You're right.
That's what I figured. Yeah, they're not going to give up that kind of money. That's real money. Just so you know, it's like $9 billion were raised. Was it 9 or 90? 90, wasn't it?
It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was some ridiculous amount. So there's only like, 9 billion being shelled out for the reimbursements. I think 90 billion they got from the auction. So the 5G transmission, well, that's kind of what it looks like on a downlink that's unfiltered. So you can see it's putting up it's putting up carriers that are a good 10 dB above your satellite carriers on the left. Those are video carriers. And that winds up raising the noise floor. And that's what causes you an issue with 5G. So this is what
I have a quick question. Mark.
Yeah, what's up?
The proximity to those transmitters is relative to the downlink, right? That's
yes, because typically the radiation from a 5G radiator is what, 2,000 feet. So if one gets within 2,000 feet of you, there's actually some emails that they have at Verizon and Sprint, and they want you to call them before you call the FCC. So at the end, I'll show you that SES and Intelsat help emails. You can send them an email and they can give you that FCC contact information or the wireless carriers. But anyway, this is, if your filter's on correctly and everything's operating, this is what it should look like. Your video or radio carrier should be clear on the left, and notice the noise floor has gone down considerably around them. We'll just go back. You see how the noise floor is up there, right at the base, and then with the filter, the noise floor drops down. That's your big issue, is the noise that gets overloaded on the front end of the LNBs. We actually had a blue alga filter that was very close to a 5G radiator, and you can see we were able to knock it down about 15 dB. But it is, as Bobby was talking about, probably inside 1,000 feet in this situation, but we were still able to make it work. This is where we went, and somebody had bought a Dawnco filter, and they were having issues, so we replaced it. Let's see, we replaced it with the alga filter, and that's what we got. So that's the same site with close close radiation from the 5G. The other interference we see besides interference from 5G is we went all over, and people have put dishes in all kind of places, and they needed to move, or see the new birds or whatever in the case of EMF, it's anic to anic. But for some of the folks like PBS, they're moving from Intelsat to SES, and they didn't think about, when people put it in, they didn't think about, oh well, if we had to move it, it would hit the fence. Well, what happens is when somebody puts it in and they don't think about everything that's around it so that they can get a full look at the arc, we wind up with fence interference. And so we had to take down the fence and they had to put a new one in. So, and we did quite a bit of that. This one was, you swung it around and it ran into parts of the building. So we had to make it able to see over the fence and the building. There we go. See, it was catching the edge of that building right there. And this one was one that we built before 5G, but it's got the 5G filter on it there, and it's braced to the wall. Interestingly enough, the pole survived Hurricane Irma, but the dish did not. 150 miles an hour is kind of the high end on that dish. There we go. Once again, this is another one where we couldn't swing it to the west because of the building. They had built a vent for ducting transmitter right next to the dish, and so we couldn't move it. We had to make changes to that one. This is another one we found in the field a lot, as people forgot to take off the Mylar. That's only there to protect it in shipment, and not to be on. And in some cases it worked fine. In some cases it seemed to attenuate a little bit. It's case by case basis. Now this is a great attenuator. Yeah. Biological attenuators, right? I think most all of us have seen this at one time or another. In fact, first time I saw it was like spring of 1984, right after we did our first downlink for ABC News, and I wondered why it started going out one day, and well, there you go. It can also be a hazard even if it's not on the front of the dish. So we typically take, especially when we're going to these places we don't know, but typically we take some kind of not only PB blaster for the poles, but also in the nuts and bolts and everything. But also we take, usually hot shot or some kind of spray that we can spray wasp from a distance with. God, I hate this, but we did it anyway. We ran into a SAMI dish, 3 meter, but if you'll notice, that's not half bad. Ebno for a SAMI dish, 13. I thought that was our team did a good job there. This has been an ugly thing. I think Alga was in such a hurry that somebody skipped a step on a batch of these. So we've seen probably 100 of these like this. If you have one that does like this, actually Alga will replace it for you. They'll send you a replacement if you want one. So if you've got an Alga that the paint chipped away in the first month, 6 months, first year, let's let them know. And some of you may have seen our site before. If you haven't, this is the uplinks and downlinks at the back of our facility in Englewood, right off the interstate, kind of back in a corner. Very few people know where it's at. The place was originally built by AT&T, so the racks, the wiring trays, the batteries, the fiber coming in at two different locations, 2 points of entry. AT&T really laid it out very nicely, and then Clear Channel developed it, and left us with a beautiful facility. And our team, since we've been had possession of it for the last 16 months, our team has just done a wonderful job keeping up the facility and upgrading a lot of things, and just doing a great job. This is the network operations facility. You can see we watch not only our satellite channels, but also our XDS platform here, and also an IDC platform. So we have the ability to uplink from Englewood, downlink, provide space segment, provide XDS service. But we can do terrestrial internet distribution of XDS programming or IDC programming. So you can house facilities. We actually have customers who not only house their uplink facilities with us, but house their network operations with us as well. This is our Cummins 750 kVA generator. It's a beast. I absolutely love it when that thing fires up. And of course, Marcos and the team fired up for regular maintenance. Also, part of our reliability is the battery backups at our facility. So even as a disaster recovery facility for networks and folks as a backup, we've got tons of capability at this location. As you can see, we take a lot of things in by TELUS and APT. This is what XDS head-in kind of performs like. We've got the network management system. So if you're a radio station and you're picking up content from an XDS platform, the network management system is on servers, the store and forwards on servers, and then the XDS digital encoder and MUX combines everything together and sends to you and to your receiver not only the content, but the cues, the store and forward information, the triggers, files for playback later that are localized. It does a lot for you if you're using an XDS receiver on a radio network. And this is the XDS Pro 1S, Pro 4S, and the IDC MAPS receiver. And we handle clients who use both. And recently, we were given the award by ABC Audio to handle their distribution going into the future. So if you are an ABC Audio affiliate, either over satellite or by FTP, that will be coming out of the facility in Englewood by the end of the year. And we look forward to serving you if you're an ABC affiliate or going to be an ABC affiliate. And if you have questions about receivers, there is going to be a town hall later this month. You can take a look at their website, ABC Audio, and you can see the schedule for the town hall. But folks from ABC, Compass, and LinkUp will be on the call to kind of review the timeline and answer some questions that people are emailing in right now. And if you have specific questions about an ABC receiver, feel free to contact support at linkupcommunications.com, and Marcos and his team will get back to you about that answer. So this is part of our team. Doug Watson is in charge of our field operations. He's our vice president of field operations. He actually comes out to Englewood and works through there, but he works all over. Right now, his big project is we're building the new facility for Educational Media Foundation in Franklin, Tennessee. So we're building the satellite transmission and reception portion of that project. Eric Weiler is Chief Operating Officer and Vice President there at facility in Englewood. And a lot of you may know Doug and Eric. Doug was at NASCAR Motor Racing Network for 12 years, and Eric was at Westwood across the street for 30 years. And Marcos, you know, he's in your group, and this is Karen and I, actually at a GabCon SBE, and she and I have been in the business together. We've been working together for 40 years, on and off. We met at a radio station. I was the engineer, and she was a news reporter. So we've been in this business and know what it's like to be at the station. And part of what we want to accomplish is we want to accomplish the kind of network operations support that we would always want at a station. And for the last 20 years, we've been trying to accomplish that. So any questions about 5G, where we're at with satellite?
Have there been any, well, you mentioned that there had been a few cases of 5G interference in the big markets. Can you characterize that and maybe tell us how they cleared it up? Did they have filters? They have to, what did they have to do?
Well, let me go back to the let me go back up. Come on. Let me go back up because this okay. All right, this one with the Donco. This one actually had a filter on it. And it was having an issue. This is in Jacksonville. It's on top of a building in downtown Jacksonville. And they were having real issues when 5G lit up. And we went down there, wound up replacing it with an alga filter. And we were able to knock it down. You can see a good 15 dB from where it was before. So this is a situation in Jacksonville, which is in that top 48 markets, where we had that. We had an issue that needed to be corrected, and we wound up doing it. And we haven't had any since we made the spectrum look like this. We haven't had any more issues at that location.
First of all, thank you for lunch.
Yeah, thanks for lunch, Mark.
And secondly, what effect, if any, does the CBRS installations have on this, or vice versa?
Yeah, no, they're at actually had that slide on a previous one, but you know, they're the whole WiMAX and Citizens has been down, where is it, just below 3.5 or right at 3.5, but it's, you know, it's having to give up some capacity to 5G as well. Let me stop sharing and see if I can find that slide. Okay, so I can find that slide. I think I can real quick. Yeah, second. Give me just a second. Okay. Yep. Here we go. This is the slide. Let me get back on and share this. All right. Okay. All right, so this is that Citizens Broadband Radio Service, or wireless ISPs, and they've been in the 3.55 to 3.7, and that was auctioned off to 5G. There it is, right there in the red.
That's helpful, because I didn't realize the C-band started at 4 gigahertz. It's about 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts?
Mark, what's LinkUp doing to stay competitive with ISPs and point-to-point communications, where everything's IP based now?
Well, and that's that's a great question, because we all think of that, and we all dealt with that, because everybody who can, would like to do IP distribution. And in television, there's been a lot of development with the encoders and IP modems that they use at places like ATEM and places like that. They've done a lot. Radio is kind of catching up. Version 7 of the XDS head-in, which is probably the next one for us, will improve the audio distribution by IP on an XDS platform. So, as far as distribution of radio content via IP, you still need somebody in the broadcast world to put together the solution. It's great to use IP, but what are the pieces and parts that make content distribution? We're not talking about streaming to, we're not talking about streaming to the audience, because streaming to the audience, if it pauses for a minute, we don't think about it, it's not a big deal. But if you're doing network distribution, let's say you're distributing the Colorado Avalanche, we happen to do that over XDS. But you wanted to distribute content to network affiliates, and you need those network affiliates because you need the inventory. So you've got to be you've got to be reliable to that affiliate. So just a streaming solution is not enough. Having something that that has the entire content, which includes triggers, spot, avails, and localization. You can have all the same features and benefits of the XDS platform at a point in the future. The new Pro S's are going to make their streaming better. So today, if you've got a Pro 4Q or 4R, I would not recommend going to our stream only. It's great as a backup. It needs some work by XDS, but they're doing that. And as soon as that's, where we like it and it's reliable, we'll include it. But right now we have the XDS IP as a backup. We also do some IP for other customers using other platforms. We've got an IDC customer who's using Mystique, which is their IP solution. It happens to have they're part of the alliance. What's that alliance, Bobby?
Broadcast Alliance.
No, it's the one that developed the ability to monitor reception on the other end through IP and make corrections of packets, and it's the open source one. High Vision's part of it.
I want to say it's SRT or RIST.
SRT, that's it. Yeah, the SRT Alliance. So the SRT Alliance is an open source software that continually develops by different users, and then they all share software across the alliance to continually grow the ability to send broadcast content over IP. And that's what you want. You want something that that's got some of the same reliability that we've gotten used to on satellite, without necessarily the cost of maintaining a dish. But the great thing about, let's say, the XDF is you're getting the entire transport stream, which includes not only the audio, but also, like I said, any cues or key or
Buddy marks,
net cues or watermarks, or whatever the network's passing. It's all part of that. But also the file content. So if they have local IDs, or if they do, local liners for you to, or they send you local commercials, for the network advertisers. So that's all part of a solution that will be, continuing to develop. We've made it better since we got there, but it's going to be even better, probably a year from now. So that's our plan, is to be a solution, and we are for quite a few customers already. Anybody else?
Can I ask a tangential question, Mark? On the space segment side, so what did SES and Intelsat do? They stopped putting those transponders into new birds, and for the old birds, they just retired? And they reallocate those resources? I would assume they can use the battery box. I don't know about amplifiers and that. What happened on the space segment side?
Well, there's a lot that's happened on the space segment side. What had originally happened was that they had developed the C-band alliance, and the whole point with the C-band alliance was that they would work together. So if you were a television station and you had SES and Intelsat birds all over the place, one guy would come and replace your filters, all of them, instead of what wound up happening was, different guy had to come in for, SES and Intelsat, Telsat, whatever. And so kind of the first step was they had this whole grand plan. Hey, look, we're going to give you 200 megahertz, and we're going to do all the work. And and the the wireless guys are going to pay us directly, right? You know, they're going to pay us. Well, the FCC kept saying, yeah, we're going to go with your plan. We're going to go with your plan. We're going to go with your plan. And the morning of the announcement, Chairman Pai, who coincidentally, and just coincidence, used to be the assistant, the assistant general counsel for Verizon. But that's got nothing to do with this decision, I'm sure. But he, at the last minute, said, nope, we're not going to use the C-band alliance, and we're going to take 300 megahertz. And all of the work, all the prep, all the, you know, millions of dollars that SES and Intelsat put into testing the 5G filter, developing the 5G filter. I think ultimately, you know, they were at version H when they released it to Alga and Microwave Filter Company to build specifically for them. You know, I mean, that just had to be made up somewhere else. But what happened is 14 transponders and half of another one, you know, are shut down. I mean, the shut down the first 14 transponders on all these birds. And here's the other thing. This is the thing that drives me crazy, is FCC wasn't clear because they did all this, you know, not going with the C-band alliance and all that kind of stuff. And they never gave Intelsat, SES, any directions on rebuilding the replacement satellites, because the wireless money had to play for all those replacement satellites, the 12 satellites you saw earlier. And SES was under the impression that they would not be reimbursed if they put KU band amplifiers on the new birds. So the bird that's going into 103 for SES 3 replacement has no KU on it at all.
That's why we got booted, right?
Yeah, C-band only. That's why we had to move off of SES 3 to SES 1. That's right, Chris. Is, you know, I mean, it made no sense. And so the Intelsat birds are hybrid CKU, but SES wasn't sure, so they made C-band only, and it's only got half a transponder 15 and then 16 through 24. But so they'll turn off, that means any that had C-band or KU band and C-band full, it just means they've got more spare amplifiers. So yeah, the big problem with Chris is talking about is the little project we have together. You know, he wasn't C-band, but because of this thing with the FCC, we wound up having to move all of our customers off of SES 3 that were KU band, and that's hundreds of downlinks. I think probably close to 1,000 at least.
So I suppose that in most of those slots, there is a full KU band satellite too, occupying the same slot. Do they use a smaller bus then? I mean, an HS-100 bus is designed for all of KU and C-band, and if you're just doing half the C-band, that's 3/4 of that bird is wasted. Is there a different bus?
You know, that is a detail I don't think I could answer. But you know, that's something, if you'll drop me an email, I'll ask SES and Intelsat, how they did it. But, you know, they've got the ability to shut them down, switch them to different, they've got all kind of RF switching and circuit switches on board those things. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. What's a new satellite going for these days? Bobby?
Launch costs are down, but
Oh yeah, thanks to
there's
Elon.
yeah, but there's still a couple $100 million. You know,
Oh,
just
yeah.
development and process of
yeah.
these things, and the time it takes to design and develop them. I mean, some of these things we started developing, you know, back in 2016
Mhm.
for launch. That's when they purchased from, you know, L'Oreal, Skynet, or whoever the manufacturer, Boeing, is.
Yeah, Boeing. Oh, yeah, the group there in Dulles, Virginia, that builds one, begins with an O. Orbital Sciences, I think it is, something like that. Okay. Any other questions? Wow, thank you. I'm glad we were able to handle lunch.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, one
bet.
last question.
Mhm.
Red filter, blue filter, where does that naming come from?
The red and blue filter.
Yeah.
Somebody at the C-band Alliance came up with that because they were calling it red and blue during the development phase when they brought us in to Intelsat to show us a demonstration, and it was quite amazing. But yeah, I think somebody just decided we're going to put a red dot or a blue dot on it, and that's how we'll
Someone
know
was
that-
watching too much of The Matrix.
You know, that's right. You want the red pill or the blue pill? You bet. You bet. And next time we do this, let's try to do this at our place. Obviously with the ABC thing going on and everything, this probably wasn't the best time for us to do it there, but I'm glad we were able to give you an update, show you some things we saw in the field, and you know, make sure you know where if you've got something, you got a question about a downlink or something, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'm always happy to help, be a resource.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, next time we'll do this at our place, and we'll look forward to it. Thank you.
Put that back on. All right, well, thank you guys so much for coming. Good, you found your kid. Right.
We stuck in.
I
mean, we were here the whole time.
It's okay, it's on camera, so you know, I'll find out that way. It's not a big deal.
Deep fake.
Well, I hope, see, David Layer did email me, he is changing up let me find it, he is changing up the presentation. Let's see, so AM radio and the automakers as well. He'll also include some FM digital stuff as well. So that'll definitely be a good one. If you guys can come, we'll probably do Jason's Deli, just rotate them every month. So